was so incredible to see Cine once again flexing it back. And what's the solution now, right? Coming into the drafts, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 2 in the grand finals, we do see that both of these teams have opted to swap sides. So perhaps going for a different route in the bans.
Yeah, since Vitality is now on the blue side, they do have the first pick, but you know, it is still most of the time, despite like where Vitality is playing, red or blue, I think it doesn't matter. They've shattered the records here. Like, play on the red and the blue, it doesn't matter. Even shattering the records, I think at this point, Eterna, there should be a record for the longest reigning champion, and it has to be them, right? Like, no one has ever found a way. And you know, despite the rotations, despite, you know, some different people coming in and out of the team, it has worked. And this seems to be, I would say, the perfect team, right? But for Falcons Vega, what does it need? What do they need, actually, for them to at least get in a game or equalize the series here up against Vitality?
Dude, that's like the million-dollar question, isn't it? And even Falcons haven't found the answer. They do have a coach, by the way, VCX, still looking for that answer as well. But for now, it looks like they still want to respect that Moskov away as well as that Ling. But take these heroes away and, you know, Shell as well as Peoples, they always have another card up their sleeve. Earlier on, we got the Julian. We'll be seeing another type of that again in this game? Or will there be another, you know, card, an ace card up their sleeve?
You know, I think at this point with the best out of 5, you want to get to that the match point immediately, right? So for Vitality, I'm not surprised if they pull that one again here in this game. Like, completely go for something totally different. The Matilda ban here is going to be the difference here for Falcons Vega. It was opened up for Vivian, and she was so aggressive with that type of hero. The Loi, you know, maybe they can steal it away here this time. I'm thinking, oh, the chip has been banned away, right? So yeah, I'm thinking Loi here for Vitality. But knowing this kind of team, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna do the unexpected. Start off with a Baksha for their side, and I think yeah, it's again, I think this is a flex. Although I don't think I see it anymore in the XP lane though. There was a time I did see it in the XP lane. But yeah, a jungler Baksha already picking it up for their side.
I think the latest flex that we've seen from the Baxia is a Baxia roam. So I'm not really sure if these girls are comfortable with utilizing the Baxia in the roam, especially it's a little bit more passive as compared to other types of roamers for Vivian. But we do see the Angela going to be prioritized here for Falcons Vega. And by the way, as they chose the Baxia, Vivian was like laughing in the gaming house, and it's just so crazy that their presence, you can even see it on screen, right? They're just seeping out confidence. They know that they have this in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that there's a lot of, like, at this point, I would be surprised, right? With the so many VODs that you have of each other, right? There's still the notebooks here. There's still, like, the brains behind all of this, right? Still thinking it through. What's the next best pick to book? The Roger here, though, goes to the side of Falcons Vega. But then again, they're opening up comfort picks here for Vitality. The Claude, once again, in the hands of Chills in this game. Fast rotations to counter out the Angela and the Minotaur to add it all up to the beefy front line that Vitality already has.
You know, at this point, I think it would warrant a respect ban onto Shell, right? Like, okay, she can perform on several other heroes, but she's most comfortable on the Claude. So it's a wonder why they haven't opted to take the Claude away from her.
I think that was also an option before, right? They took out the Claude, but there's still, again, there's just so many heroes that she has. One of the players that has a lot of heroes under the belt. If you take this one out, she still has this. She's also rocked a Clint, right? If I'm not mistaken, in the gold lane yesterday, and it worked. Like, it doesn't matter what you give her, as long as you give her. I've tried to like look at like all of my notes here, and I just want to just toss it out, right? Because I don't think it matters here at this point, right? Like, whatever they pick.
But honestly, the Clint nearly didn't work.
Almost.
Right?
Almost,
so,
right?
Why not push her on a hero that, although she can utilize, obviously, to something that she doesn't excel too much on?
but it's still the same result, right? Like, I mean, if you want to push her to have that type of hero, that means you're gonna use up all of your bans on her. So that's just a lot to take in also, right? Like you mentioned it earlier, pick your poison here for your side. If you're gonna put up all of the bans up against Chels, that's gonna open up heroes for Pipals. That was also a strategy. I know that Falcons Vega did to Vitality before, like take out all of Pipal's heroes. She also put out like a Granger in the jungle, and it worked. Like, she may not be comfortable with it, it may not be the best, but the fact that it works, it's still fine.
So now in the second phase of the bans, we do see the Novaria being taken off the board, denying that visibility presence from the side of Vitality. And of course, again, with the Terizla being picked up, they want to be able to secure a winning lane for the Terizla, and hence the CC being taken off the board, especially with the Xborg already banned out in the first phase by Team Vitality. But now Alpha has been eliminated off the board as one of the main counters towards Baxia in the jungle.
The Xborg is still open here for the taking.
It's banned out.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, it's the third one. I was like, oh, that would be so good, right? And then, wait, hold on. Yeah, it's in the ban list. Yeah, you know what? Vitality just got all... no stones unturned here. The Lilia, first time actually it's been picked up. You mentioned this a couple of series back, that the Lilia is just good when it comes to wave clear. And the Loi, it's kind of weird seeing this in the second phase, right? Like, you usually see this being prioritized by the teams.
I think they want to make sure that they know where this Angela is going for a potential setup onto the Carmilla, right? Because as soon as the Louis, as soon as the Lilia gets picked up, they're like, all right, so this is an Angela roam. No way we do see a Carmilla. So with that being said, Louis instantly being picked up here in the last phase of the drafts, as well as the Arlet as their playmaking tool. And one of the reasons why they picked up the Lilia here is, I do believe, is they're looking for more winning lanes, because in game number 1, it looked like they had a little problem with their mid-trio setup. They had a winning lane with the, I think it was in the gold lane earlier on, but now with the Lilia, hopefully they can win out the mid-trio, their prio, and then they can utilize that prio to the next few lanes in the EXP as well as that gold lane.
Will we see a Fredrin here once again? They still need a front line. That's what I'm worried about here, since it's going to be Tal on the Angela here. They really need a front line to sustain up all of the damage, all of the possible crowd control that Vitality will be throwing out. So it's not a Fredrin, but close enough. The Barretts for their side, and paired up with the Angela, it's actually pretty great. You got the mobility, you got the Lilia here as well to clear out the lanes pretty fast. So Falcons Vega, they got in a couple of wins here when it comes to the lanes. But overall picture though, Eternal, what do you think about the draft here between these two teams?
I think there's heavy emphasis for Team Falcons Vega in the early game, right? The Lilia can scale into the late game with her DOT damage as well as her utility, but of course with the Roger in the gold lane as well as the Angela, there's just a little bit more of them to work with in the early stage of the game as compared to, of course, Team Vitality, who picked up the Claude in the gold lane.
Wow. I mean, comfort picks after comfort picks here for the side of Vitality, right? A lot of dives, a lot of setups. That's what I'm worried about. I know that Falcons Vega has the damage here, but will they be able to sustain it? As long as they can have the good rotation, I think that should be fine. But we're getting into game number 2 here. And if Vitality wins this, it is going to be a match point for them for the third game. But here it is, the second game of our grand finals between Falcons Vega and Vitality, as we kickstart things off here once again with our second game.
So let's jump into the land of Dawn, ladies and gentlemen. The tensions are running high because one game away of entering that match point position. And with that being said, we'll be seeing the rotations here in the early game for both of these teams with such heavy emphasis in the early stage of the game. But it looks like Team Vitality, they are very quick with their rotations, utilizing the Minotaur and the Luoyi for the clear as well. They were able to get into the top lane, dish out some source of damage as well. And they're now back into the mid lane as we take a look at the emblems.
A Brave Smite for the XP laners, a concussive blast here as well for the junglers, which is you know, getting in that extra magic damage bounce back. Whoa, Vivian though. That's a whole lot of members there for Falcons Vega as we head on to a technical pause here once again.
Yeah, the concussive blast is extremely normal, especially for tank junglers, because they want to have better wave clear when it comes down to minions as well as their own jungle. So it will help them in terms of the jungling patterns and to get to those utilities, to get to the neutral objectives a lot quicker. But we are down to a technical pause, ladies and gentlemen, and we are in the grand final. So we do want to make sure that all our players, all our teams, and especially you guys at home watching get the best experience possible, the best viewing experience possible, because, you know, we want to get the most out of this, especially in this best of 5 grand finals. The stakes are high. Remember, number 1 will be able to get their hands on a hefty prize pool, 15k USD, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's a big prize pool, and not to mention, of course, being crowned as the queens of Snapdragon Pro Series. And looking at the boot camps of these ladies, one thing I notice in common is that there's a lot of things that make them feel comfortable, right? Like there's a lot of these plushies that are there, a lot of blankets. Actually, I haven't been to a boot camp myself, so it's nice to see, like, finally we're starting to get back into that, right? Like everybody playing together, because the last time I've actually seen them, you know, go head to head, it was still during the COVID time, the pandemic time, right? Like they were actually playing in different locations.
But now we're back into the game, ladies and gentlemen. 1 minute has elapsed, and it looks like for both of these junglers, they're actually on very similar EXP levels, both at level 4. So when it comes down to this neutral objective take, it will be quite interesting with how the setup is going. But meanwhile, in the gold lane, you would expect the Rogers to have a better time, especially pre-level 4, but it looks like Shells is actually holding her ground here and actually zoning Chinchao and forcing that freezing of the minions.
Now we see a diversion play being made here. Okay, this is actually gonna help Cine and Fumi actually get in that extra minion card to reach in that level 4 that is definitely much needed before the turtle take. And you can see Fumi actually backing away, making sure that Cine has that level 4. Now they can make the diversion plays for their side. And speaking of that, they go for the diversion play right there onto the middle. Agatha will be forced to use in the black shoes. They're not able to get anything, but Violet though gonna be able to clear out that wave, escape here as well, as Falcons Vega will be able to successfully evade that as we head back into the turtle.
There's also a flicker being burnt out here by Sydney, so she no longer has that in her arsenal as a defensive precarious method. But it looks like another engage is happening.
Okay, Violet goes in the middle of it all, trying to go for the penalty zone. Caramel right now taking down Realo, getting really slow there by Pipals. This Tortoise Poissons and the rotation diversion combination from City, and right after that, clear win for Vitality, go straight for the blue buff.
2-for-0 trade, as well as picking up that neutral objective again, right? In game number 2, Team Vitality are showing their teeth. They are not letting this slide at all. They don't want to drop a single game, and we're seeing that play through in the first 3 minutes. Team Vitality already holding a 700k gold lead, 700 gold lead. K. Can you imagine a 700k gold lead?
Wow, that's huge. That is like way too advanced, Eternal. Like we're talking about what, 10 minutes in? Well, it looks like it's happening, right? With how aggressive like Vitality has been. Speaking of the aggression though, here comes the diversion play. Vivian, okay, goes all the way to Chinchao. Not expecting that in. Caramel gonna be slowed down there by Pipals. And this is what we were talking about. It feels like a 7,000 lead with how Vitality is playing here. The diversion plays have been so on point so far. And now here on the top side, Thal gonna get chunked down there by the Baksha. Pipals gonna slow down Caramel as Chels is able to chunk down that tower. Agatha as well gonna be able to slow things down there. But look at Vivian. Does she have the setup here? Heart Guard's gonna be available, but not enough time to save the life of Caramel. Make that a double for Pipals. Gonna go try and go for the triple. Does she have the flicker? Yes, she does. Does not have the black shoes. And they're gonna be able to take 3 for the price of none.
Every single time, they always get the favorable trade. And it's no secret that Team Vitality understand how to utilize this lead. very different to different scenarios, but Team Vitality now with a 3k gold lead already in the 5th minute of the game, and it looks like they're going to transform this lead onto the neutral objective. The turtle setup is already there. They've lost, Falcons Vega have lost that turret in the top side, so a little less playmaking potential for Chinchao to utilize, and she's on her signature Roger.
Yeah, the Roger that actually got in a lot of the triple kills for her. This is not looking good for the side of Falcons Vega. Even Agatha, they're forced to use the... oh no, Caramel as well. Gonna get in that final slash. Vivian gonna try to go for the follow-up, but again, every single time that Falcons tries to go for the hard guard, the members here of Falcons Vega get bursted down by Vitality. And again, another diversion play here onto Violet. Catches her by surprise, forces the flicker out onto her. Penalty zone, will it be enough? Blazing Duet as well from the backside. They're still able to sustain Violet. Chunked down really low. Pipals as well, gonna try to go in. Final slash, all of the ultimates being invested here. Man, I don't even know. Yeah, Ethernet, this is looking like it is going to head over to a 7k gold lead just shortly. I mean, 7 kills already for Vitality as early as the 6-minute mark. And we can see the items here. Heavy priority on the Radiant Armor as well as the Necklace of Durances to counter out the healing here from both sides.
For sure, it's definitely evident here. And despite that, you can see that Luo Yi, Cine, utilizes and actually centralizes on the Necklace of Durance, right? She doesn't necessarily go for more damage in the early stage of the game, but she respects the output, the regeneration capacity coming in from Falcons. But it looks like there was a diversion play up top.
Oh no. Okay. I feel like now Falcons Vega is so wary of all these bushes, right? It's Vivian and Cine that you're talking about. A great synergy between the Minotaur and the Loyi. You can just set up things here for them to go forward to. And now Chinchao,
that was a 1v2.
Yep, and it's still, yeah, Pipals just managed to be able to sustain all of that. That was the hard guard and the Roger.
Crazy. What in the world are Team Vitality on? Like, what did they eat for breakfast today? I mean, since yesterday. Okay, for the past 3 years,
yes,
right?
I was gonna say that. What have you been feeding Team Vitality for these past 3 years to be able to play this well, right? Man, there was a saying that, you know, once you're champions, you're gonna start to slow down. That's what I hear. But for Vitality, I mean, that's why they're named Vitality after all. There's no signs of stopping this team as they go for the diversion play. Once again, it's so scary to even check the bushes here. And they understand that the roam here for the side of Falcons Vega is gonna be an Angela. So there's just absolutely no way to counter out the plays here.
The amount of opportunities that Cine has found so far, being able to be #1 on the damage leaderboard, by the way, even though she built in the NOD, just really shows how priority the Luo Yi is in the early game, and we're starting to see it. Fumi, is she looking for another play?
She's trying to go for the final slash. Violet as well, forced to flicker out. Final slash, the Tona's welcome. You got Fumi Echo getting taken down finally, but there's the Minoa's Fury from the side of Vitality. Vivian still picking up a Mega, and even with the Angela there to back them up, it is still not enough. They only lost 1, whereas Falcons Vega has lost 2 in that team fight.
Intelligent itemization, right, from Cine. Again, the NOD has been super useful in these particular situations. There were dominance ISs built in as well for Team Vitality, and that's really what you need to do. Just, you know, take a step back to move 2 steps forward. And we're seeing this, a 5k gold lead now. And look at the space that Team Vitality has been able to amass, the dominance in their own jungle up until this point, right? Again, the mind games of the presence of the Luo Yi has been a big issue for Falcons Vega, and they're falling so far behind. Caramel now at level 10. That's 2 levels below of Pipals at level 12.
Man, these diversion plays are so scary. Like, you don't know how many people are they gonna bring. I mean, if only it was so easy to travel around the world with this, right? The diversion play that has been such a nuisance here to Falcons Vega. They don't know what the next move here of Vitality is. They have access to the entire map here. And right now, they're gonna be chunking this lore down real quick. here at Chels, and without any contest at all from Falcons Vega.
Absolutely no problem for them whatsoever. They look for another diversion play to the bottom lane. Do they know that
Oh!
Chinchao's there?
I do know that she's there. What is that presence of mind? That okay, I think at this point they just have eyes everywhere. They have eyes everywhere. That was just like a few seconds before Chinchao was able to recall back. They just knew and went straight for her. The hard card was not even in time to be able to save her life. 10 minutes in. Team Vitality. What does Falcons Vega need to do here? Is it the penalty zone? Is it the Daytona's welcome? Oh man, I don't even know at this point.
They need to wish for a miracle. That's what they need. Look at that final slash!
It's the final slash again. Under their own turrets, they're not safe. Shell's gonna deal in that final blow, but Pipal's still gonna be unstoppable at this point. 2 members are down before the Lord knocks in the base of Falcons Vega. 10 minutes in, they want to keep on breaking records here for the fastest games, for the longest games. And now the Lord knocking in the inhibitor turret here. Pipal's gonna be soaking up the damage. And man, oh man, Team Vitality. Man, if you're not fans at this point, I don't even know what to say anymore because this team has been so dominant and they're looking to clinch in that 20th title, being totally undefeated at all. I think at this point, they should be able to take this last tower as well.
For sure, champion material, right? The versatility and the way that they think. And look again
Oh!
at... Oh my god!
Fumi with the final slash! What? We thought it was over! But it's not! Even under their base, Falcons Vega is not safe from the wrath of Vitality. It just keeps on going! Man, they lock in the tower. This is gonna be a Chinchao as well. Spared! Not spared, rather, from Team Vitality. It's a wipeout as they lock into base and get in game number 2.
One game away of championship points, ladies and gentlemen.